What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Pod Scum. I'm your host, Reckless Rex Ruger, a.k.a. the Son of Glam, a.k.a. Diamond David Lee Roth Jr. You know that to be true. Pops is looking down, smiling on his pride and joy. The Freddie Mercury puppet is here, teeth in full effect. We got another great episode for you, man, with another great guest. The new backdrop is here. Say hello to the new mascot, Sludge. That's right. Overkill has Charlie. Iron Maiden has Eddie. And I got Sludge. We're down to have another killer episode. This one's going to be good. Really looking forward to it, man. Let's get him in here, man. Dispense of the formalities. We'll get down to the brass tacks. Ben, how are you, man?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm awesome, man. A lot better now that you're here. And I've also had the privilege of having I've had the privilege of having Monty on before too, man. Big fan of you guys. Lost your camera there. There you are. So extremely happy to have you guys back on. And first and foremost, congratulations, man. Boy, the fans came out, man, and spoke in droves. The Kickstarter, extremely successful.
Absolutely. I'm having to adjust here. Give me a second.
That's all right. That's all right. Take your time. There's no crying in podcasting. I don't edit anything.
Man.
I can't be bothered. No, I'm talking about even on my end crying. I don't edit anything. I'm 51 years old. I'm too old for all of that. What you see is what you get, you know? Warts and all.
All right.
Yeah. So you got to be excited though, man. Like the fans are just, came out in droves and went even above and beyond and exceeded what you guys were aiming for.
Yeah, for sure. Can you hear me okay, by the way? Just making sure everything's cool.
Oh, you could be a little louder.
Well, I got the earbuds in. I don't know.
Oh, that's okay then. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I can hear you fine. Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, no, we're very pleased, overwhelmed even.
Yeah.
It's so we just took a stab, you know. It's like, I think for my own self, I'm just going to speak for myself. It was like one last shot, you know. Let's see if people care, and if they care, we'll do something. And because the last time, so we did Long Way Back to the Moon in 2017.
Yep.
We did a couple shows in 2019 here in Texas, and it was like, you know, then you had the pandemic and you had, you know, whatever else in between. And it was about, are we too old?
Right.
Are people gonna care? Do people even care? And with me, it was like, let's do this, or let's try to do this. Let's put a number on it that we think we can achieve, and let's see if it'll happen. Because honestly, I'd like to do it at least one more time before I die.
Yeah.
And now, whether I die in between is that's the question. But we do have a overwhelming mandate from the fans, because less than 600 people worldwide. I mean, I don't even know how you get the word out anymore besides, you know, just social media. But that was pretty much it. Social media. I did a few emails to people that had bought GC, you know, Galactic Cowboys merch. But for the most part, there was nothing. There's no paper. There's nothing involved, you know. Like, you know, there was no marketing department or anything like that. It was us,
grassroots
fans.
Yeah,
and that was it. And it turned out that they wanted, you know, less than 600 people, 570 something people said, okay, yeah, we'll come up with 87 grand.
Yeah.
So that you can do music, video, go do it. And so it's it's overwhelming, but it's welcome too. It's like, you know, because I'm happy that we're gonna get to do it again, you know?
Yeah. And speaking of your point about age, I mean, you know, as I said, I'm 51. You know, there are still bands that, you know, that I guess younger kids, you know, would consider old school bands, but they're still out there, like still rocking a lot of these newer bands under the table. I went last year to see the Bay Area Strikes Back tour, and I don't think any of these young bands could hold a candle to what I saw up there with Testament and Exodus and Death Angel. I mean, amazing energy, you know, still sound great. And these are guys getting up there doing it old school, no bullshit tricks or any of that stuff. You know what I mean? Like they're actually getting up there and just, you know, really being authentically themselves.
Yeah.
You know,
well, that's all we've ever been, you know, and it's yet to see whether we can, you know, pull it off or not, but I think we can.
Absolutely.
I've got confidence that we can pull it off again. It was, like I said, 2017 when we did the last one. So, you know, Shows, that's a whole different thing because you got to get your stamina back. Because it's been, like I said, 2019 was the last time we played a show. So
Yeah.
you got to get out there and do it and just go, well, can we do it?
Yeah.
We need to shorten the show.
I'm glad you brought up the thing about shows, though, because because you do make a good point. As we get older, obviously we can't replicate the things that we did younger, man. How comfortable are you guys, with doing touring? Obviously, as you get older, you start to really like your creature comforts. It gets harder to do, as you said. You got more aches and pains. How far will you guys take this? Like, will there be a big tour? Will there be just certain shows, places, or have you not even thought ahead to that yet?
We thought about it. The general consensus right now is that we kind of divide the country up into sections, zones, or whatever, and then once again, go to the fans and go do a Kickstarter for different zones and go, hey, how many people in this zone want to do shows? And then, like, if there's enough, you do 3 shows in that zone, pick another zone, do 3 shows there.
Yeah.
I mean, unless somebody comes out of the woodwork to go, hey, we want to sponsor a tour for you, we don't have the money to do that, man.
Right.
But, there's always the chance that somebody can go, hey, you know what? We're going to sponsor your tour.
Yeah.
Very,
Yeah.
very slim chance. But if it doesn't, we're going to set up this thing where we pick zones around the country and then just go, hey, we want to do some shows. Let's see if we can raise the money to do shows in your area. So, but
and will this album
definitely going to do Texas. Texas is going to happen for sure.
Obviously,
but
sure.
Anywhere else, it's going to be like up to the fans to go, we want you bad enough to bring you here. So
yeah. So going back like a little bit, like to delve into your own personal life, was there a specific artist or a song or an album that really put the charge in you and got the whole music journey kicked off for you?
And when I was a kid, I got to say it was Elton John. I know that sounds lame, but Elton John, when I was a kid, was like, he was Captain Fantastic, man.
Magical. Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
As I grew up, I started getting the heavier stuff, but I was like, at that time when I was like, I think 11, 12 years old, it was Elton John. Then it was, strangely enough, Queen, loved Queen. But my real love when it comes to like vocalists and talent, it's like very Texas based. It was like ZZ Top.
Yeah.
I love those. I loved Tres Hombres, the Guayo, those Rio Grande Mud.
Yeah.
But Billy Gibbons just had, he had that voice, and Dusty too, Dusty too. But then I got into Frank Zappa, and I love Frank's sense of humor, his songwriting. He was very much, he was a social commentator. I mean, like, he was very critical of what was going on, around him. And then just the comedy involved, and the ability too. I mean, just great music too. So,
which obviously you guys have fueled some of that comedy and that satirical aspect into your own music too.
For sure, yeah.
And so when this album comes out, will it be supported by a label, or is this all being done all by you guys?
It's just us. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, because I honestly, like I said, there's only like less than 600 people. Once we fulfill all the pledges, and then all the funders, we're gonna try to get it out to the general public. I don't know how.
Right.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna try somehow, even if it's just releasing it through our website or whatever. But it'd be nice if it was somebody that went, hey, I'd like to take the rest of the world
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Well, you guys did do a
uh,
couple albums on Metal Blade, and then I think I talked about this with Monty when he was on, and this was a long time back that I had Monty on. But and one of the things that I think we talked about, and I'd like to get your opinion on this, is going way back when, and I think it would have been probably like early '90s when you guys were on DGC, and I think I might have seen this in some articles. Did you feel like maybe you didn't get the push from them because of the Nirvana Nevermind album?
they did a lot. They did a lot, but they were distracted. They could have done a lot more.
Yeah.
Not that, I mean, we're not the only band that this happened to.
Right.
It's like
right.
it's a pretty common story when it comes to bands. It's like back then it was just keep throwing it against the wall.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say the word, throw it against the wall, see what sticks.
Yeah.
And Nirvana stuck. And it just happened to be that the same guy that signed us signed them to DGC. It was Gary Gersh. And although the common line from them at the time was these guys are just leading the way for you. They're just paving a path. The Black Cowboys are going to come in, and you're going to be the thing. It was like, okay, we bought it. We did. We were like, all right, they're just a little band from out of Seattle, and we're a band out of Houston, and they're paving the way. That did not happen. That did not come to pass. So it was.
But not to taking away anything from Nirvana, though, man. But they did benefit from that really becoming a whole scene that blew up, though. You know what I mean? Like, they were helped by the fact that whole scene and that whole, that started to become like a whole trend, that whole, for lack of a better word, grunge. I know they're not fans of that word, who come from that musical movement or whatever. But, all those bands started blowing up. I think they kind of all kind of helped each other, like, especially financially.
Well, I guess to a certain extent, sure. But, I mean, there were some that rose above, it was like Nirvana, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, those just, and to me, that was the thing that was missing with us. It was like, they stuck with those bands long enough to get them past that moment where, we're going to walk away. We can cut our losses and walk away. And they stuck with them. With us, it wasn't as much. It wasn't as much, we're going to stick with you. It was kind of like, we're going to cut our losses, walk away. And that's the thing I think that was missing, was like, they had a sure thing with Nirvana. With us, it was like, is this going to happen? Well, nobody knew, so they cut their losses.
Right. I find it interesting in Mark Lanigan's book, another guy from the Seattle area, former vocalist of the Screaming Trees. He wrote in there that and he was very close friends with Kurt Cobain, that he was actually trying to get them on the SST label, because you're talking about them being a sure thing. And that was the label run by Greg Ginn of Black Flag. And he said that Greg Ginn actually didn't get it. And he was kind of like puzzled, like, what was there not to get? The songs were great. The songwriting was great. You know what I mean? Like, who wouldn't have wanted to snatch them up, I think, was kind of, kind of his thinking. I mean, he may be a little skewed because, as I said, he was friends with Kurt Cobain as well, but.
Yeah, we didn't get it either. So when we got signed, Gary signed us to DTC before he signed Nirvana.
Yeah.
Or at least it appeared that way because he came down when we were recording the first album. And we were going to go out. I think we were going out to see Sonic Youth.
Yeah.
And they were in town. And so we meet him at the hotel. And he's like, oh, hey, I've got this recording, cassette of these guys that I just signed. And he puts it in. And he walks away to do something. And it sounds like, like our first a demo we did was like one microphone in the middle of a room.
Yeah.
And like, you could hear cymbals bashing and like the S's and like, a little bit of guitar, and that was it. It was like,
raw. Yeah.
And so he's like, what do you think? We're like, yeah, man. Yeah, sure. Well, that was Nirvana.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
And we, I guess if we'd been like, into sub pop or whatever, we would have known who the hell it was, but we weren't. And later we did, it was like our first album release party. It was kind of telling because we have this big bash. They rent out, several rooms in a hotel. They rent out the whole pool area, and they do this big party. And they bring in like regional distribution people and record company people and radio people and distribution, like all this, just all glad handing, but it was all, they paid for everything.
Yeah.
But we go to this big party up in one of the rooms, and they're playing Galactic Cowboys. We walk in. When we leave, they're playing Nirvana, and we walk to the elevator to go downstairs, and our rep was. And that was like, she's going to our party, and I love her. I mean, she was great, but that was in her head. It was like the song in her head was not us going to our record release party. It was Nirvana. So there were signs that things weren't going to happen the way we thought.
The writing was on the wall.
But no, I mean, it was all exciting, and so it's like hard to tell somebody, hey, by the way, this isn't gonna work, because it was all new. We were like, brand new band, brand new music, brand new, exciting, future ahead of us. But it was all pretty much like, get used to failing.
Yeah. And so now, like, when you guys get together and create new music, what's the creative process like? Is it collaborative? Are you guys all contributing ideas? Is one person got the lion's share of the ideas? How's the creative process going at this point in your career?
Monty has always been the predominant songwriter, and he's just prolific, just like his art. He paints all the time.
Amazing.
And with songs, he's just always got ideas. So he's always been the predominant songwriter, and great songs. But like, when we come in together, it's like, Monty has plenty of songs, and I have 3. Dane goes, here's a guitar part I did. Alan goes, here, give me the guitar, I'll write something. So for the most part, the bulk of Galactic Cowboys music is Monty Cullen, and that's great, because you need somebody, you need an anchor. And I mean, every band needs an anchor. That's because without that anchor, you're just lost at sea. So Monty writes the most, but the thing that I like about what we do is that there's the bulk, and then there's the what the hell is that? Oh, well, that's something that Ben wrote, or that's something that Alan and Dane wrote. It's like there's like if I Were a Killer, it was me and Alan. If No Problems, me and Alan. There's just things that certain they're just like a little tasty injection in the midst of like a wall of sound, and that wall of sound, is not just a wall. It's a wave. You know what I mean?
So he leaves the door. So he brings the ideas, but he leaves the door open though, like where it is still democratic. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's certain things that you don't want to
change.
Yeah, you don't want to be democratic about, like somebody brings in a song, you don't want it to make it unrecognizable.
Right.
By the time you're done with it, and that's nobody wants that. It's like, you have an idea and you go, hey, let's try this. And Monty's totally open to that, by the way. It's like, whether it's Alan or me or Dane, it's like, throw a part in, throw a part out, whatever. But it's just, he's just, you can't beat Monty when it comes to, volume. He's just going to write more. He's going to be involved more. He's a
creative juggernaut.
Yeah, exactly.
He really is. And his artwork is fantastic. You can just tell it just pours out of him. You know what I mean? He needs those creative outlets because he's just got so much of it inside of him. The songwriting, the painting. You know what I mean? It's nice that he has platforms, at least though, where that stuff can be noticed. He's not just
sure.
You know what I mean? Where his talents can actually like shine. Now, I'm glad you brought the other guys up though, because what you guys do is something very rare after all these years. And I know you've taken some hiatuses over the years, man, but you guys can all still stand each other too. No lineup changes.
Well, Alan, it won't be involved in this project. So just so you know. I mean, I don't know if you.
Okay,
you were
right,
aware of
right.
that.
But still, but it isn't for any kind of dissension or anything like that, though. You know what I mean? Like, you guys have all maintained pretty good relations over the years.
I'd like to say so. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and that's rare though. I mean, when you're a band that long, you always go on Wikipedia, and I always find it funny, especially with you know, when you go to the band members section on a Wikipedia page, and it'll have, like, you know, everybody that's ever played guitar. You know what I mean? 40 or 50 guys that have been like a revolving door, like, through a band. You know what I mean? You do see that a lot.
Yeah.
You know, several lineup changes.
Yeah, we've only had it's pretty much just been Wally, who was our first guitar tech.
Yep.
Basically took over for Dane when he went to play with his brother in Sonia Brothers band, and then when Alan left in 96, 97, he recorded the album, but then didn't tour with us on At the End of the Day, and then now again this time. So, you know, it's like it's only a couple of changes, but for the most part, the same core.
The nucleus is there. Yeah. Now, now getting back to the Kickstarter, you guys originally had a goal on there of $70,000. Last time I checked, it was well up over 80,000. So you far exceeded. People can still go on and contribute, but you know. But the point I'd like to make is, though, for people that don't understand out there, though, and just think, you know, oh, is this the way bands are going now? Hat in hand, having us fund their albums. It is a very difficult process, though, nowadays. The music business. But, you know, I think for people that aren't in it, it has changed. You know, I think they think you're a musical artist. You're sitting somewhere in an ivory tower on top of piles of money or whatever. But it is an expensive process, though. Studio time, all that kind of stuff. So it is important to have, you know, a financial starting point.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's not, you know, it's not cheap. It's nothing. People are going to open a studio door and just let you guys traipse in there for free. You know what I mean? So I think people out there who might be scratching their heads saying, geez, how come a band would need a Kickstarter? You know, obviously, you know, there aren't labels. You know, there's not like a proper, like, record industry as there used to be back in the 80s and 90s, where bands would get signed to a huge contract and get advances and all this kind of stuff or whatever. It's difficult now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we never made any money off of records. Our whole time recording, and I can't remember how many albums we've done, but we didn't make any money. We made advance money, and the advance money was paid as like a down payment. Here, go record. We'll cover your recording, you know, costs and whatever. You give us an album, and then we'll put it out there and see what happens. Well, that portion is just gone. Nobody's giving anybody any money,
right?
At least not us. And so you have to come up with another idea. And we didn't get it. We didn't get it because, like, for the most part, we never had to self-promote, because the record company did that. Or, you know, if we hired somebody who was like a promotion person, they did that.
Right.
But we didn't really have to do that. You know, we just kind of like did what they asked. Hey, well, by the way, we're having these record store people come in, and you want to go in there and, you know, be really nice to them, so they'll do stuff with your music. And it's like, oh, okay. Hey, how you doing? You know, take pictures. Hey, you know, sign stuff. So you were still obligated to glad hand, you know, to go to somebody to do something for you. It wasn't exactly the same, but you were still obligated to do that. And now, instead of having that organization in the middle there, you're going directly to the fans and going, look, if you want this, it's up to you. Yeah. And we're not, you know, we offer, like, in the Kickstarter, it was tiers of support. You know, it was like the digital version of the album, CD, LP, T-shirts, you know, meet and greet with the band, you know, sign promos, that, you know, but stuff that we did back in the day, and never got paid for it. I mean, you know, like I said, we got our advance. We spent our advance on making the record, and then they said, okay, we'll give you some money to tour. We went out and toured. Didn't make any money touring because we owed it all to the record company. Right. So, right. So, you know, it's just a different animal, you know, and I don't. It was odd was odd for us because I don't think any of us have been self-promoting. I think Monty's probably closest to it because of his art. You know, he's had to promote his art, so he got a sense of it. But just the idea that you've got to keep yourself in front of people and keep going, hey, remember. But I mean, what do politicians do? I mean, we hate it. We hate it unless we love the politician. But you get texts, you get emails, you get commercials, you get, you know, give us money, give us money. I mean, it's the same thing, and it's weird because we're not used to it. But if you're gonna make it now, you have to self-promote.
You'd have to,
and it feels yucky. It feels gross, man. I mean, nobody likes to do that, you know. Nobody wants to keep, you know, because we don't want to get pounded in the head about stuff, you know. Oh, you know, remember me, come and buy this thing, do this. It's like, no, I don't want that. But if you're a real fan, I mean, there are people that were like, everything that was posted on Facebook or on Instagram or on X, they'd retweet it or repost it or share it or whatever. And those are the people that were the ones that got involved, you know. And I don't have anything against any other fans that didn't get involved. You know, there's a lot of fans that just didn't even know what was going on because, like I said, we were pretty much limited to social media. But I mean, just the fact that it's in their hands. You know, it's not, there's nobody in between us and the fans. It's just us and the fans, and they want it. It's obvious. You know what I mean? Like I said, like, it was over 87 grand now. And trust me, most of it, if not all of it, is going to go directly to, you know, the actual producing of the music, you know, and the videos and stuff, because everything costs way more than it used to. So.
Yeah. Now, obviously, you know, the point I made earlier about the music business, you know, changing so much, and I think I even picked up you saying it. You know, I mean, hey, remember me, remember me. It seems like now, you know, the general public's attention span has really dwindled a lot. You know what I mean? And I saw somewhere that there's 30,000 a day new songs being put up on these streaming platforms. So there's certainly an influx of music. Everybody out there is still creating. But obviously, you know, we're not going out buying albums, you know, the standard way that we used to or whatever. But what will the format of this album be? Because for a while there, especially around COVID, we started to see people really not want to be forgotten about. So they were putting out singles. They were putting out EPs, small pieces of work, but they kept putting them out. You guys have in the past been, you know, fully realized conceptual albums. You know what I mean? Even coming in at like over an hour. You know what I mean? What will the format be like on this album? Will it be the same as it's always been for a Galactic Cowboys album?
Yeah, full length album.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure.
That's good to know. That's good to know, because it has changed a lot. There are people that are scared about like putting out a full length 11, 12 songs or more, you know, and you know, people just don't seem like they dive into full albums no more. I still love putting on something.
We're not afraid, man. We are not afraid.
Right. I know that. And the fans should know that too, or whatever. So, so a fully realized album of, you guys have a ballpark of how many songs you'd like to be on it?
10 to 12.
Yeah.
Something like that. I'm guessing with, you know, there's always like stuff interjected between our stuff. You know, it's like whatever we happen to do. I mean, you never know in the studio what you're going to do.
Right.
That you'll go, oh, I like that little chunk of something, whatever it is. And excuse me, then you find a place to put it in, you know. So it's going to be music, and it's going to be, you know, our commentary and on the world, and you know, it's going to be a Galactic Cowboys joint. That's what it's going to be.
Is there a way, or well, I shouldn't say a way. Do you have an opinion on if there was a way that all of this could have stayed somewhat normal? You know, the way the music business used to be. Did the record companies not get in on the streaming early enough? How could this course have been corrected and it benefited the artist a little bit more? Like, where did they go wrong?
They tried to fight it right away.
Yeah.
They resisted it instead of going, this is inevitable. And then they could have been a bigger part of what happened instead of coming in afterwards and having to scramble. But you know, this was inevitable. That's just all there is to it. You know, I mean, I hate it to a certain extent because I hate the fact that art, whether if it's visual or audio, whatever, it's just content. I hate that about what is currently happening because it's not like I like the old school version of things, the LP, where you see the art and you open it up, you smell it. You smell it, and then you read the lyrics, and you see, the pictures of the band, and that's there's a sensual thing about it. Same thing with CDs, smaller, but
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
And you open it up, and you're part of what's happening right there.
Yeah.
And now it's content. So, like you said, people during the pandemic were here's a single, here's a little video I did, here's this, and everybody was scrambling, because apparently that's the thing. It's like you have to keep people engaged now because they get bored.
Yeah.
But I dislike the whole idea that whether you're a musician or a movie maker or a video producer or whatever, an artist of some kind, it's just called content. And it just, to me, it belittles the whole process of being an artist because for the most part, bands are going out, they're not making money on music anymore. They're making money on, selling t-shirts and crap like that. And it's like, anybody can make a t-shirt, man. What everybody can't do is make an epic song that hits you here and here and follows you around and becomes part of your life. People, everybody can't do that. Everybody can make a t-shirt. You can make a t-shirt right now. I can make a t-shirt of this. Or this.
Right.
Or this.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Content, it does not describe art. Sorry, I'm off my high horse now, but
Well, no, the artistic aspect of it, has been minimalized, though. I get what you're saying. Yeah, it has. I don't think people can stand back and look at something anymore and say, "Wow, that's art."
Well, that's because it's
sad.
It's been democratized.
Yeah.
I don't own my music anymore. It's just something that's out there, so anybody can come get it and have it and use it however they want to, and to a certain extent.
Right.
So the only way you can actually make money as an artist is to do something it's what used to be promotion.
Right.
T-shirts were promotion. They weren't. You didn't do T-shirts to make money.
Yeah. And they were a lot cheaper too.
Yeah, they were.
I'll tell you what, man. You almost got to take out a second mortgage on your house to go get a couple of concert shirts nowadays at a show. For God's sakes, they're very expensive.
Hey, I want to get in on that.
I know. The T-shirt business ain't so bad if you're printing up band T-shirts. I mean, it was astronomical. I mean, last time I went to a concert that my wife wanted to go to, we went to see, we went to do the big rock show and went to see Alice Cooper and Motley Crue and Def Leppard. And the people were lined up, I mean, for as far as the eye can see. And I looked, and the cheapest article up there was $50 for a shirt. And I'm just like, I didn't pay much less than that for the ticket.
Yeah, no, that's and good for them. If you can sell merchandise,
people are buying.
Good for you, because that's the only way you're making a living.
Yeah,
because music won't do it. You can't make a living on music.
Yeah. So we'll turn to something a little more important than music right now, because I know you're an avid sports fan, and we are in the heat of the baseball season right now. And I admittedly have not been keeping up.
How do you know this? How do you know this? Where are you getting your information?
Well, I'm friends with you on Facebook, and you do put up a lot of Houston Astros propaganda. I do it. Well, first and foremost, other than the Astros, though, are there other teams that you pull for, or is baseball your main sport?
Okay, I'm old. I'm really old.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to tell you, I lost my stomach for the NFL when I'm forgetting his name. Bud Adams, is that who it was? Owned the Oilers.
Yeah.
And demanded that the people of Houston build a new stadium for him, or else he was going to move.
Yeah, you're even dating yourself just by calling them the Oilers.
Yeah. Well, they were at the time.
Yes.
And so I, it was like, no, we're not going to do this. We're not going to do this. They voted it down. He picks up and runs and takes his team to Tennessee, and they become the Titans. And I just said, nope, I don't want to be involved in it. And then they did it anyways. They built a new stadium, and then they got a new team. And so, and I don't want to hold my old, grudges against the new team, but I'm just waiting for them to do something. So, I'm kind of encouraged that the Texans are in a position where they can do something more.
So you're not. So you're. So for the most part, you mostly focus on baseball. Then you're pulling for the Astros.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I love baseball, but I'm really just an Astros fan, man. It's just I don't honestly, unless the team we're playing, I keep up with who we're playing or whatever, but I don't know every player from every team or their stats or anything like that. Like my cousins are all into that. And they do fantasy baseball and stuff like that. I don't do that. I'm just a fan of the Astros. That's it.
And so
which is probably lame to some people.
And so, as I said, me not being up on the standings right now, how are the Astros doing?
They're leading the AL West. Yes.
Okay. Oh, not the Dodgers then, huh? Oh, no, wait a minute. Houston moved to the American League, didn't they?
Yeah. The Dodgers are leading the NL West, and the Astros are leading the AL West.
Yeah. Now I live in upstate New York, so I'm a long-suffering New York Mets fan. But our road to the '86 World Series, and that's all I have to cling to at this point, and at least in my lifetime, it did go through the Astros that year, if you remember correctly.
Yeah. Oh yeah. For
That's
sure.
when Mike Scott. That's when Mike Scott was, there's allegedly stuffing the ball.
There's plenty of teams that have done that, though.
Yes.
Notably, it was St. Louis. St. Louis had to go through us. Huh?
Oh, no. I was talking about Mike Scott that year. He was unhittable that year, but then there was all those allegations that he was scuffing the ball. Remember back in '86?
Yeah, I was just talking about in general teams that had to go through Houston to.
Oh yes,
win. Yeah. It was like the Mets weren't the only ones. It was like most notably for us as Houstonians, it seemed like it was always St. Louis, the Cardinals, and in my time, just watching Pujols get up there and that look he had every time he gets, it's like, no, I don't want to see Pujols at the plate.
Well, that's kind of how us Mets fans felt, man, when we had to face Mike Scott, and usually in a 7-game series, man, like those guys would pitch on short notice, so you might see him 2, maybe even 3 times, and he was pretty unhittable if you remember 1986. I mean, if you go back as a fan that far, which I'm sure you do. So the greatest Houston Astro of all time for you is who?
Oh man.
Jose Cruz was pretty good. I remember Jose Cruz.
Yeah, no, I know all the traditional players from years back, but I was a Fairweather fan for many years because we lost a lot. I feel like
it was always frustrating. I feel like I'm turning into that with my Mets right now too. I'll admit it. Full disclosure, I'm turning into a Fairweather fan. Yeah.
Well, so from 2014 on, so like about 10 years now, I've been a diehard fan.
Yeah.
But prior to 2014, I was very much a Fairweather fan. Yeah,
so since 2014, who have they had on the roster that you've really grown fond of?
My favorite guy was Marwin Gonzalez because he was a utility guy, and he always seemed to get up at a crucial point and hit a homer or a double or something.
Yeah.
He was always the go-to guy to me. I also like underdogs because he wasn't an everyday guy. I mean, although as a utility guy, he did play a lot. But I loved Marwin. But Springer, he's no longer with us, of course. He's up in Toronto. Was great. I loved Correa. Correa went to the Twins. But Altuve's he's just a forever Astro.
So he's one that you guys have held on to. He's still playing in Houston, Altuve.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Oh, man.
You know what? I gotta say, man, I hit on the same thing though, man. I'm one of those guys that likes the underdog and the unsung guy too, because for years when I watched the Mets as a kid, all my buddies like the Dwight Goodens and the Darryl Strawberries, man. I was a Mookie Wilson guy. Never the best player out there, man, but played with a big smile on his face, played hard all the time. Did have to platoon a little bit with Lenny Dykstra once Dykstra got there, man, but never complained about it. You know what I mean? Like never like, you know, seemed like he was out there, you know, playing bitter or anything when he would lose his job. I kind of like those kind of guys too. You know, those guys that are just playing with a general exuberance, you know what I mean? And they're not the best guy out there.
Hey, let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Do I have a second to go get some power? Because apparently this app uses a lot of power because I'm running out of.
Sure. Yeah.
Do I need? Yeah. Give me a second.
Yeah.
I'll go get
ahead.
something. So power up. So talk amongst yourselves.
I'll entertain the fans. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I will definitely entertain the fans for sure. Yeah. Definitely power up. And I can remind people here that while he goes to get his power source, talking with Ben Huggins from Galactic Cowboys. And there is still time. I imagine you could go to Ben Huggins' page. You could go to Monty Colvin, probably any of the guys in the band, or you could just go to Google and put in Galactic Cowboys Kickstarter. It is still going on. They've reached and exceeded their goal, but people out there can still give. It ain't cheap to make an album these days. It ain't cheap to do anything these days. So, yeah, you know, you want to see the boys back out there, man. It's going to cost you some money. You know, it's just the way of the world now, man. But I was trying to tell people that they could still give to the Kickstarter if need be. They could probably find info through, you know, you or just going on Google and putting in Galactic Cowboys Kickstarter or through Monty, any of the guys in the band, probably, I'm sure.
Yeah, if you just go to Kickstarter and put in Galactic Cowboys, there's only one project up there for us. So.
Yeah. And so if this project, and I would already say it's off to a successful start, especially when you're exceeding the goal already by tens of thousands of dollars. Are we looking beyond this project? Are we looking at, geez, if this goes well, continuing along the same path, Galactic Cowboys albums every couple of years, or continue to do these Kickstarters? Or for you guys, is it a play it by ear? Is it let's do this one more time and that's it? Like, where are you guys collectively as a band with all this?
Well, we're going to have to take it one project at a time. But this one was so successful that I think it almost demands that we try it again.
Yeah.
Like I said, you know, I think the first thing is going to be once everybody that's funded the project is taken care of, and then we do whatever we're going to do retail wise or distribution wise to get it to anybody else that wants it.
Yeah.
We're going to start thinking about going out and playing. You know, it's just it'll be an untraditional tour because it won't be like boom, 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 boom. But we'll break it up into sections, like I said, zones of the country. So that's those are the next things, those steps in it. But I mean, first thing is we got to get in the studio and make this record.
Yeah. Well, and I, you know, I keyed in on something that you said right there, because I just had a guy on from a Bay Area thrash band the other day, and even he said too, you know what I mean, kind of along the same lines as you, playing in different quadrants or different zones, or in their case, going to do the festivals and trying to really pick their spots or whatever.
We'd love to do festivals. I have no idea how you do a festival, because that's kind of stuff used to be a manager's, you know, thing. So if someone wants to call me and tell me, or get on, you know, DM me, IM me, whatever you call it. I think that's, hey, here's something you can do to get on a festival. Let me know, because we have no idea.
Yeah, well, I think that is the route to go. And the person I'm talking about is Craig. He's a guitar player for Bay Area thrash band Forbidden, who were a big part of that thrash scene years ago. And then they kind of went away from it for a while. And Craig LaCicero, who I had on, the guitar player, was doing other things, had a couple other bands. But then once Forbidden came back, I mean, it starts to become the whole, geez, you know what I mean? Like, what could have been? Now let's see what could happen. Because they put out a couple of, seminal thrash albums back in the day, and then they kind of fell off a little bit. But he even made the same point, though. We can't necessarily roll through, your town specifically. He made the example, like, people in Wichita, Kansas might not necessarily get a show from us. You know what I mean? We just can't roll through and do, 50, 60 consecutive dates, or, go out for a couple months. It just doesn't work that way anymore. But I think the festival thing is big. And I think the fact that so many fans showed support, I would probably imagine that they would probably like approach you, because I think when a band resurges, with as much of a groundswell and support as you guys have, I almost think that the offers, you kind of sit back and the offers will probably come right in. At least I would imagine. Yeah,
I'm ready for it.
Yeah, from my mouth. Yeah, from my mouth to God's ears. But that is something that is a viable option for you guys, though, right? Like, I mean, you guys want to do shows, certainly.
Trust me. If someone goes, "Hey, we've got several festivals for you to play," we're not going to go, "Oh no, no, please, we can't do that." No, we're going to play.
Now, what's your own personal creative process like? I'm not even talking about collectively, like with the band, but if you're going to create, are you one of these guys that, has any kind of a routine or ritual? I talk to a lot of musicians and ideas come to them in the car while they're at work, or they go and they isolate and they have to sit quietly, or they have to be listening to music. Do you have a specific routine, that's part of your own creative process when ideas really strike you?
It's all day long. You're in the car, or it's like the first things you said, because sitting down to force myself to do something is impossible for me. I can't. I mean, I can, but honestly, more ideas come to me when I'm just like right now. Right now it's like I want to write something down. It's like, oh, okay, don't forget this. Hold on to it.
Right.
Because it's just part of daily life, and I have stacks of old chunks of paper and yellow notepads that have ideas on them, and lines, like poetry and crap like that. But I mean, for the most part, it's just and now it's all digital. So on my phone, it's like this idea, and it's just I'm driving, or I'm working, or I'm watching a show on TV or whatever, or reading a post on, some social media. And I just go, oh, here's an idea. So there's acts of that. I mean, it's like, it's everywhere. And like I said, with Monty being the prolific writer that he is, and Dane with his riffs and that's the thing. And Dane will go, we have a song on the last record from 2017, Long Way Back to the Moon, called M Is Our Was. And so Dane came over, and when we were writing during the pre-production process, and he had this riff, and he's like playing it over and over, and I'm like, man, can you just look here? Here's these lyrics. Why don't you look through these lyrics and see if anything strikes you?
Yeah, browse.
And he goes, hey, I like this. And it was a poem that I'd written about the state of being. And, M as our was, be, been, being are the states of being. And it was based on that. And so I had to adjust things a little bit to fit with the riff and some of the other things in the song. And it came, when it came together, and then Monty wrote the middle section, when we were like doing pre-production, and he's just sitting down playing this part. I'm like, do you have a song for that? And he's like, no. I'm like, let's use that for the middle section for M As Our Was. And so, that's just how this stuff comes together. And it's like, stuff that you don't think. I mean, it could have been that song could have been just in a pile that I never used, but and he goes, here, let's try this one. You never know. It's just when you capture lightning in a bottle, and you never know when that's going to happen. And so for you, I try to say this question as I'm getting towards the end. It does stump a few people, but I get the feeling you're going to have a very definitive answer for this. Your Mount Rushmore of musical artists, for you, your top 4 that mean the most to you. It's going to disappoint so many people. It would have to be the ones I already stated: Elton John, Billy Gibbons, Frank Zappa, and if I was going to pick another one, and this is really going to disappoint people, it would be Bono.
Now, why do you think that disappoints people? Do you think there's that much hate and disdain for Bono in the world?
He's made some enemies.
He's polarizing.
If you go back to the early days, the thing about him that I loved was his passion. I
Yeah.
mean, you just heard it in his voice. I didn't have to see him. I
Right.
didn't have to see who the hell Bono was. I listened to a U2 song from the first, second, and third album, and there was just energy, passion, and commitment. There was no holding back. It was just over the top. And so I'm gonna put him on there, man.
When did the disdain start? When U2 forced their albums onto our cell phones and our devices?
That was so silly, man. It's like, oh yeah, we're gonna give you this music. How did you get in my phone? You know who's in your phone? The NSA is in your phone, man.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. You're getting the new U2 album, and you don't have a choice.
Yeah. By the way, you don't have to like it, and you can delete it. But you're going to get all in an uproar about that. But not about the NSA or the FBI or the CIA or the government. You're worried about U2 getting into your phone.
Yeah. So now that you're older now, and it has been some years, like since you've created, is the creative spark still the same? Like, what drives like the and spurs you guys up? Like when you are kicking around ideas, is it stuff going on in the world? Is it political stuff? Is it obviously like you guys have had a lot of satirical stuff or whatever? Is it still easy to draw from the well? I mean, it has to be. There's so much weird shit going on in the world right now. I mean, it's a crazier place than ever now.
Yeah, everything you said, all that stuff. It's
the world just serves itself up.
Yeah, but it's always been that way, man. It's like on the first album, why can't you believe me? Was also inspired by things that were going on in my life, not in the world, but in my life. But Not Amused was a song that we wrote about a guy that had gotten kidnapped by some sort of death cult in Mexico at the time, and it was in the news. And Monty comes up with this riff, and he goes, I'm thinking I'm not amused, and I'm like, okay. So I wrote down I'm not amused, and then basically wrote a loose outline of this story of this kid getting kidnapped by a death cult in Mexico and dying, and then So I mean, it's always something in the world that's going on, whether it's war or whatever it is, it's like it's always something that's happening around us. For the most part, that's the way I write, at least. Yeah.
Well, maybe the Kickstarter idea is not such a bad idea, because as you can see, I've got Diamond Dave looking down on me right now, and I need money, man, to conclusively prove through DNA that I'm his illegitimate son. So, maybe a Kickstarter is in order for me for the legal fees.
Good luck with that, sir.
Yeah. All I want is a little taste of that Panama money. That's all. Just what's coming to me,
I dug something out that I showed people on my during the pandemic. I got in that closet over there, and I did live from my closet, on Facebook. And so I dug this thing out at the time, and I thought I'd bring it to this
beautiful
interview.
You wore that, or you just held it up during your episodes?
Do you remember this?
Am I supposed to?
Yeah. So when Galactic Cowboys played Sons of Thunder on Airheads, this is what I wore around my neck.
That's right. Yes.
And, and when you see it right here, you see that's Adam Sandler signed in here. It says, "Ben is a great man. Learn to love Adam Sandler." And here's Steve Buscemi over here.
Wow. And got some big ones on there. You've rubbed elbows with some people.
Joe Mantegna and Brendan Fraser here.
Wow.
I can see that.
And, I can see it very good.
This is a piece of Galactic Cowboys history that I actually held on to. Yeah. And I figured I'd bring it just as a show and tell item.
Without a doubt. Yeah. I think the fans will geek out over that too, for sure. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Anyway,
and the fact that you've got it autographed obviously makes it even more special, Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, I want to remind people they can still go on. The Kickstarter will officially be open until when? Like, I mean, is there a stop date on it?
I they so this is our first Kickstarter. So I don't know what it was like before, but now you have an option to continue taking in funds.
Yep.
Until you stop it. Personally, go in and say we're not taking any more funds for this.
Okay.
So I imagine at some point, once we get in the studio, I'm going to cut it down, shut it down. But for right now, even though the campaign itself is over, you can go on and there's tiers in there where you can get CDs or LPs, shirts. You can do the digital thing. It's the bottom tier, and you can get in and get the digital version. And I mean, eventually everybody's going to get a chance to hear and see and be involved in the music. But right away, it's just going to be the people who got involved in the funding. Because I mean, honestly, what do you do when less than 600 people go, okay, here's $87,000?
Yeah, they have to be rewarded.
Music.
Yeah, they have to be rewarded first and foremost. Yeah,
exactly. They're going to be the ones that get first dibs on everything. And then once they have all gotten their stuff and everybody's pleased and good, then we're going to figure out a way to get it to anybody else that wants to take part. So, and because they can just buy it.
And because Monty's such a phenomenal artist, man, does he do the artwork? How does that work for whatever the physical product is going to be?
Monty's done all the cover artwork since Machine Fish.
Yeah.
And even on the first two albums, he did artwork on a lot of the like the little singles that DGC released. He did the artwork on those. So he's just he's gonna definitely be doing the artwork and then whatever photography we do of the band and whatever. So
what do you anticipate? What do you anticipate the timeline then? Obviously, you certain delays and stuff that you can't foresee or whatever. But when would you like to have this done? Is there a target date? Obviously sometime 2025. Beginning, middle, end of the year.
Well, we gave ourselves some time, but basically about a year. So the deadline that we gave on Kickstarter was June 2025. Be nice to get it done out before that.
Yeah.
But we gave ourselves time because you don't know what the future holds. So
But having a Galactic album, have a new Galactic Cowboys album coming out in the summer though is nice.
Yeah. And right in time for all those festivals.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Festival promoters out there. You heard it right there from the man himself. Throw the invite, man. The boys will be there, man. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
With boots on, with bells on, whatever the hell the saying is, with bells on. You guys will be there with bells on.
Unless I slip and break a hip.
Yeah, don't do that.
So far,
don't do that. Don't do that.
The hips
don't
are good.
I work in healthcare. I'm a nurse. That's my day job. So I see plenty of broken hips. Don't do that. Yeah, don't break.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah, that's a real wrench. That's a real wrench in the festival and or the touring itinerary. That's gonna put a damper on things.
I've seen guys on stage with canes. So
yeah,
I think I can do that.
Yeah. But do you want to?
No, I don't want to do that.
Well, listen, Ben, I appreciate the time, man. This has been a lot of fun. But please stay in touch as things progress. I'd love to have you back on, man. Or next time I'll get you and Monty on.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds great, man.
Yeah, I would love that. I really appreciate it, man. Great talking with you, man. Best of luck with everything going forward, and we'll stay in touch. We'll do this again for sure.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Good talking to you, Ben. Have a good one, buddy.
You too.
Right. Later, man. There he goes, folks. Ben Huggins, lead singer of Galactic Cowboys. New music is coming your way from the boys, as you heard. Hopefully sometime by the summer of 2025. The Kickstarter is up and going, and the fans have emphatically spoke. Their goal was 70,000. They're well up into the mid to high 80,000s. So this is something that the people want. And when you're an artist, give the people what they want. The boys are going to get in the studio, and we are going to get new Galactic Cowboys music, which we haven't had since 2017, I believe. So it is on the way. You heard it right there from the voice himself, Ben Huggins. That is good news, folks. Very good news. So want to really thank Ben for joining us, man. A phenomenal episode, a phenomenal guy, a fun conversation. Hope you guys enjoyed it, man. And come on, what else would you expect from the son of glam? The front man for the band, adored by a million fans. Mr. Wop Bop Loo Bop Wop Bam Bam. Shazam, hot damn. Pops would be proud right now. And I know that he is. From one great front man to this offspring of a great front man, and the science will prove that soon, to Ben Huggins, another great front man. It was just a night of great front men, folks. So you're welcome. Gratis. And again, thank you, all kidding aside, to Ben Huggins. Phenomenal guy, man. That was a real fun conversation, man. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay tapped into these amazing conversations with a plethora of amazing artists and human beings from around the world, different bands, different genres. This is where they're going to come, and we're going to chop it up. We're going to get down to the brass tacks. You know how Reckless Rexx Ruger gets down. Feels good to be back. Go back and check out the channel. Go back and check out the first 170 some odd episodes of Pod Scum. Go check out Off the Couch Boxing, which is still up on the channel. If you're a fight fan like I am, tons of great content to delve into. And of course, Pod Scum is back, and we're a few episodes into our next run. And Ben is now part of that. So I thank him very much, man. And make sure to also like and follow us on Facebook. Stay tapped in any way you can. And as always, remember to take it easy and please keep it sleazy.